Hello, YouTube, etc. I'm late. Well, I'm not always late. I'm not actually, I'm late, but I'm not late. Discord starts right away, and then it takes me a couple minutes because I try to get TikTok set up before I do YouTube, because YouTube, when people come back later, I don't want them sitting here and I'm 4 minutes trying to get, everything else rolling. Anyway, all right. Instagram, bam. Excellent. Substack already there. Excellent. August. That's a good name. Teresa, Marianne, Justin, Rosalie. Excellent. All right. You guys are there. Good job. Yeah. All right, good. YouTube's there. I'm going to start TikTok and we're good. And I'm ready to go on TikTok already. So we'll just start it. Shoot, I forget to bring I was going to get the Trump quote for my physical today. I forgot to get the quote. Oh no. I already started Discord. Discord's going. Discord's on. I'm looking at it right now. They're all there. Hello, TikTok. How are we doing this evening? I've got my warm tea, help my voice. Pretty good. My voice is fine, but I find the tea loosens things up a little bit. So, good evening. Oh, thank you, Cricket. Appreciate that. Hello, everybody. How are we doing this evening? Hello, TikTok, YouTube, Discord, Substack, everybody. Woo-woo! Hello, Chicagoland. I'm from Chicagoland. So welcome, guys. John Arvosis here, talking about the latest good amount of news today. Hey, Tanya. I'm going to number my notes so I don't lose track here. A lot of Iran news, a lot of other news, a lot of Trump corruption news. Surprise! Trump authoritarian news. Surprise! You know how that goes. Had my physical today. Well, in principle, things are fine. Always wait for the blood. I love when Trump does that crap. I had my physical. Everything was great. Unless, are they able to get his blood tests right away because he's the president? I have a hard time believing that's possible. I would still think it takes time to get your blood test. Maybe it doesn't if you're president. I don't know. The rest of us, it takes a few days, my ginger tea. So who knows? But otherwise, things felt fine at the physical. So we shall see. Thank you for the gift there. Was that Cricket again? Thank you, Cricket. So yeah, welcome, guys. Anyway, what's going on? There's something going on I was going to tell you, but I don't remember now. What was I going to talk about? I know we're talking about the show, but I meant something going on. I don't quite recall. Yeah, so physical today, that was fine, whatever. I did not have a cognitive test. No. I was going to bring up later in the show, once we're done with the news, remind me to bring up that cognitive test because I want to talk about it. I think it'd be fun for us all to talk about it. Do I like dark humor? Nothing that'll get us all arrested. Let's just make that clear. Nothing that will get us arrested. Nothing that will get us canceled. So, but yes, I think it would be fun to do the cognitive test later to pick it up and go through it because everything that I saw online with Jim Acosta was really, really easy. Other than the remember 3 of the 5 words, and even then, like I said, I think one was I remember from yesterday. One was face. One might have been red. One was church, and the other 2 I don't remember. I might have been wrong, but I think that's what they were. What is that? Oh, thank you. What was that? Oh, celebrate. Oh, thank you, Diana. Oh, that was the really nice one. Thank you. That's a new gift. I was very curious about that. Thank you so much, Diana. And who was that? Ty and Luis. Gracias, Luis. I keep saying gracias. I never know with an S though. You may not be looked. Well, I'm forgetting now. I'm forgetting my Spanish. Isn't Luis for Latinos a Z? Or am I forgetting my Spanish now? No me acuerdo. Anyway, welcome guys. John Arvosis here. So yeah, it was a very nice gift. Yeah. It's an S. Okay. What am I thinking Z with? Luis. Maybe I'm thinking Ruiz, like the last name. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, that's the English way? It is an S in Spanish. Luis. Okay. Bueno. All right. Well, I'm thinking luz. Maybe I'm just thinking of other words in Spanish like luz. You know what I mean? Like that's L-U-Z. I know that. I'm probably just mixing it up. Or I'm thinking like Ray Ruiz, who was a singer I used to like years ago, was R-U-I-Z, I believe. Anyway, guys, welcome. John Arvos is here. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the news. We got a lot of news today. Exactly. Ruiz is with a Z, like I was saying, Ray Ruiz. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. My apartment, we're dealing with DC being like 80. I don't see that. Oh, here it is, 77, but sunny. Hablo bien español. Sí, claro. We won't do it tonight. No lo haremos ahorita porque no sé cuánta gente habla en español acá con nosotros y no quiero que se vayan. I was like, I don't want everybody to leave if we switch into Spanish here, or those of us who, although it would be fun. Someday might be fun to try a Spanish show just for yucks, but I am a little afraid that I'm going to like literally, 2/3 of the people will come for the regular show and be like, what the F is going on? So we don't want to do that. Oh, that's bad, Gunther. So yes, we could do Spanish later. Decent. Although I do not practice my Spanish. My Spanish was very good. It's still pretty good. I don't practice it much, though. All right, let's get rolling, guys. So Coffee Talk. Saturday morning, remember, I do my special show. Thank you, Sadie. Or not Sadie. Sadie's the oh, it is Sadie. I keep thinking, because there's a gift called Sadie, too. That's why I always get you confused with the gifts. There's a special category of gifts called Sadie's something or other. So yes, guys, Saturday morning, 11 a.m., I do my Coffee Talk, or Coffee Talk for TikTok, which is my thank you show I do for the monthly subscribers. Hey, Chris Keep, for the monthly subscribers, TikTok, YouTube, Discord, Substack. So I open it up just to you guys as a thank you. Otherwise, my show during the week, you guys know, is free for everybody. But as I said, I wanted to have something extra to thank you guys with. So there you go. All right, let's get rolling, guys. Iran. Big story. I mean, there's a ton of news today. Iran is the big story of the day. That's the Sadie. Isn't that a Sadie gift? Or am I totally confusing? Oh, it's a Rosie gift. Oh my God, I'm mixing Sadie with Rosie. The gift you just did, I thought was a Sadie gift. It's a Rosie gift. Anyway, thank you, Sadie. That's very funny. It's Rosie. Is there a Sadie gift, or am I just like literally having a senior moment and mixing the Sadie gifts with the Rosie name? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, thank you. All right, guys. You'd think I did not have coffee right before. I think for some reason my herbal tea is making me giddy. I don't know why. It's just ginger, but it's making me giddy. Anyway, thank you for the gift there, Claire. Oh, there we go. My tea's at just the right temperature now. So Iran. That's true. It does have sugar in it. That's probably exactly what's going on. This is the tea that has too much sugar. That's exactly what's going on, Luis. So, ginger, Iran. Trump reached a deal, but not really, with Iran today. But it was only a 60-day deal. Oh, thank you, Big Pink. Oh, very cool. Thank you for that, Bighorn. It's kind of a cluster F. It usually is with him. Oh, God. I don't even know where to start. I mean, I've got all my notes here. I'm trying to think of where to start. So the deal is only for the next 60 days. And the deal is they're not discussing nukes yet. The nuclear stuff will come next. But nuclear was the entire point of the talks. So it's like, okay, there was some, I keep knocking my camera here. There was some deal reached today, but the deal had nothing to do with nuclear bombs. Except nuclear bombs is the entire reason we invaded Iran. So the fact that today's deal has nothing to do with nukes is a little weird, but whatever. The deal is only for 60 days. It's to continue the ceasefire, which we've already got. Thank you, Vanity. It's to continue the ceasefire. But, and a big aspect of the deal, which is good news, allegedly, Iran has decided to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to get rid of the mines that are in the sea, the mines that are in the water. And I keep thinking, every time I say mines, I keep thinking mimes. And I'm like somebody in the water going, what's the like with the doorway or the wall? Some guy in the water. But that only gets us to where we were before we invaded. The deal is literally to get us to where we were the day before we attacked, whatever, 3 months ago. Okay, it's to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. It's Iran doesn't have a tariff or a fee they can charge, right? Iran gets rid of the mines in the water. Okay, but keep in mind, these are not big concessions from Iran. This literally just gets us back to where we were the day before Trump attacked them 3 months ago. 3 months ago, Iran was not controlling the Strait of Hormuz. There were no mines. There were no tariffs. There were no fees. This just gets us back to that. The U.S., in exchange, says, okay, we will open up Iranian ports. Since you're opening up the Strait of Hormuz, we will open up Iranian ports, and we will let you continue to trade now because we were stopping you from trading, right? We were stopping you from trading. Oh, you're leaving. Bye-bye. Trumper's pissed off. Bye-bye, Trumper. Bye-bye, Trumpy. So Iran says we'll open the Strait of Hormuz for you. And America says, okay, then we will open Iran for you, right? You closed off the strait. We responded by closing off Iranian ports. So we'll open up Iranian ports. So you'd think that would be tit for tat, right? Right? They open theirs, we open ours. Oh no, the Trump negotiators decided to sweeten the deal. Okay? We are going to lift some of the long-term sanctions on Iran so they can start selling their oil and making lots and lots of money. Why? Who knows? Who knows? Okay? This deal gets us to where we were the day before Donald Trump attacked Iran 3 months ago, except it throws in the U.S. lifting some sanctions, international sanctions on Iran's oil, just because. Let me put a finer point on this. Had Trump not invaded Iran, we would have had this deal anyway, but we wouldn't have had to lift the sanctions. What Trump is doing, Trump invades Iran, reaches this new deal, and this new deal is put us back to where we were the day before the U.S. invaded, but the U.S. lifts some of its sanctions. Why? That's insane. I mean, he didn't just cave. I mean, this man tacoed like nobody's business with this deal today. Again, what was the point of invading Iran if all we did today was agree to get us back to where we were the day before we invaded? Oh, but there's a catch. The U.S. has to kick in billions of dollars to help Iran, not kick in, but kick in billions of dollars of Iranian oil trade that we're going to lift sanctions on. Why? Why are we doing that? What did Iran give us? Iran said, we're also happy to sweeten the pie or sweeten the pot by saying, we won't build a nuclear. We'll commit to not building a nuclear weapon. Gee, you're not going to build a nuclear weapon in the next 60 days? Neither am I. Right? I mean, that's a hell of a promise, right? I mean, it means nothing. First of all, what does that even mean, right? Oh, they commit not to build a nuke. Are there any inspectors coming to make sure they're not going to build a nuke? No. Then what is that? And were they going to build a nuke in the next 60 days anyway? No. You get it. Trump completely caved. We decided to lift some of the U.S. sanctions or the international sanctions on Iran in exchange for nothing other than Iran saying, okay, we'll release some of the hostages. Because remember, Iran took the world hostage with the Strait. Really, really sick stuff. Michael, who's a friend of mine, was saying, actually, we're not back to where we were. We are weaker. Just as Russia is significantly weaker, we have less or fewer munitions. We prove yet again that with Trump as president, the U.S. can't be trusted and will attack our allies. This is true. We'll get into this in a second. So, it's crazy. In addition, Trump is pushing really hard that like all the Arab governments embrace the Abraham Accords, where they normalize relations with Israel and have normal political, diplomatic, trade relations, this kind of crap. And all the Arab countries are going, why would we do that? I mean, think about talk about out of left field, right? So the U.S. decides to unilaterally attack Iran, declare war on Iran. And as part of the U.S.'s peace deal, and which then Iran responds by blowing up the Arab countries. So the U.S., as part of its peace deal from Trump attacking Iran, and he ordered, by the way, thank you, son. Oh, they're very cool. I haven't seen that audience laughter one before. That's very cool. As part of Trump's deal, again, Trump declares war on Iran. As part of Trump's peace deal with his war on Iran, he's turning around and going, oh, Arab countries who I got effed up because I got you all attacked by Iran, I expect you all to reach peace with Israel right now. And they're all going, what are you talking about? Like Saudi Arabia is like, no. Saudi Arabia was like, no. Saudi Arabia said all along that when Israel well, actually, when not only Israel embraces a Palestinian state, when a Palestinian state is created, then Saudi Arabia will embrace Israel. But Trump is saying, as Al Hassan just said, mandatory. I should have added that. Trump is saying it's mandatory. And they're going, what the fuck does mandatory mean? It's mandatory that all the Arab governments normalize relations with Israel. Again, a couple different things here. One, what does that have to do with the war with Iran? What does that mean? What does it have to do? It doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with the war with Iran. The war with Iran is the U.S. versus Iran. It's Iran's nuclear weapons. Iran wants sanctions relief. Why would you turn to the Arab governments and go, and by the way, we want you to normalize relations with Israel? What do they get out of it? If I were an Arab government, I'd be going, first of all, I'm not a party to this war as an Arab government. Second of all, what do I get out of it by normalizing relations with Israel? What, and in exchange, I get what? And not to mention, I'm not a party to this war anyway. Thank you, Vanity. He's out of his mind with this stuff. They also, then just to piss off Israel, the memo of understanding would also state that the war between Israel and Hezbollah and Lebanon would end, an issue on which Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu have had at least one tense discussion, reportedly. Now, Trump has supposedly not yet signed off on this deal, but it's the deal that his negotiators reached, his son-in-law, his real estate investors reached with the Iranians. I mean, no, he's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. And Scott Bessent, his Treasury Secretary, goes today. Hold on, I've got his quote. Bessent, President Trump has, I swear to God, it's like an episode of The Simpsons. Every time I hear this crap, when Trump's employees talk about him, it is something out of The Simpsons, that famous episode, One Fish, Two Fish, Three Fish, whatever it's called. And it's about Mr. Burns running for mayor or whatever it is, or whatever he's running for. And he's polluted, his nuclear plant has polluted the river or the water, and it's made the fish have three heads or whatever, and they serve it at dinner. And Lisa's there and the press is there, Lisa Simpson, and they're trying to convince her to ask Mr. Burns the question that's on the card. She goes, it's a stupid question. And the question is, Mr. Burns, your campaign has the momentum of a runaway train. Why are you so popular? More or less word for word. I will never forget that question. And that's so listen to Bessent. President Trump has done something that no other administration is able to do. We have gotten the Iranians to talk about their nuclear program and to perhaps commit to not having one. That has never happened before. No. First of all, perhaps. How did Donald Trump accomplish a perhaps? I'm intrigued by this, right? Donald Trump accomplished something no one's ever done before. Perhaps, no, if it's perhaps, it hasn't been accomplished yet. That's the first problem. Second of all, Iran did not commit to never having a nuclear program. They said, oh, we're never going to build a nuke. Yeah, guess what? And my favorite is talking about their nuclear. First of all, talking about their nuclear program. The Trump administration is now saying, right, concepts of a nuclear plan. The Trump administration is saying that this is a huge victory because Iran has committed to talk about their nuclear program, something they've never done before. They did it with President Obama, and they actually agreed to limit their nuclear program, including giving up their enriched uranium and everything else. So, first of all, yeah, Iran not only has been willing to talk before about the nuclear program, they did it with Obama. They reached a deal with Obama that Donald Trump killed, which is the whole reason that Iran has an advanced nuclear program right now, because Trump killed the deal. But again, I mean, President Trump has done something that no other administration is able to do. We've gotten the Iranians to talk about their nuclear program. Ooh, scary. You got them to talk about their nuclear program. Ooh. Well, again, it's the bullshit from these people. It's the lies from these people. They're just hoping that no one's going to notice just the extent of the bullshit. Hold on. Pulling up my temperature again so I can, it just is either too hot or too cold in here because the sunlight's coming in. It's always a problem during my show in the summer. Let's lift this, raise this again. There we go. That should turn it off for now. There we go. It's off. Excellent, Snitters. Excellent, Smithers. Anyway, Trump threatened to blow. Hello. Another of those big horns. Thank you, Blue. Trump threatened to blow up Oman yesterday. He actually did. I've got to pull. Yesterday, we thought Trump was having a senior moment and got Oman confused with Iran because he threatened to blow up our ally Oman. We found out later that he meant it. Actually, I might have had it. We may have, when we talked about this yesterday, it may have already been news at that point. I don't remember that we already knew at that point that Trump actually meant it. It's insane. He threatened to blow up Oman. Oh, here we go. Actually, hang on a second. Where is it? It's here.
National waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine. Mr. President.
Oman will have to obey like everybody else, or we'll blow them up. They understand that. Oman is like one of our best allies in the region, and Donald Trump is now threatened to go to war against them too. This is the man who was going to end all wars, who wanted the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Who literally ran on, what you doing, dog? Hi, now I don't want you to get a snack right now. I think you're fine. You can just wait. CNN did a nice roundup of all the wars that Donald Trump has either threatened or followed through on. Oman is at least the 15th country that Trump has either threatened to attack, left open the possibility of attacking, or actually attacked during his 2 terms as president. Nearly all of those instances occurred in the first 16 months of his second term. 16 months! He's only been there 16 months! And he's threatened almost 15 countries, though some span both terms. He launched strikes in 7 countries so far this term: Iran, Iraq, Nigeria, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. After also attacking some of those countries in his first term, that doesn't even count the strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific Ocean, which targeted, go on, dog, which targeted nearly 60 vessels. Well, hold on. Do you want to go on out there? You're fine. There you go. Which targeted, letting the old lady out, which targeted, according to CNN, nearly 60 vessels and killed more than 190 people. He also threatened or left open the possibility of strikes against 7 others this term: Canada, Colombia, Cuba, Greenland, which is part of Denmark, Mexico, Panama, and now Oman. He also threatened Mexico and North Korea in his first term. This is actually helpful because I kept saying we were at 12 or 13 countries that he had threatened to go to war with. He's actually at 6 or 15 now. 15 countries, most of them this term. Again, everybody just fell for it. Everybody fell for it. We didn't fall for it, but some of his people fell for it. Right? The guy that was going to end all wars, and 15 freaking wars this guy's threatened. And I just freaking love it. I love that he thinks he's going to get the Nobel Prize. He's never getting the Nobel Prize. He's never, ever getting the Nobel Prize. I mean, oh God. I did not know that, Gunther. What else we got? So Trump launched, okay, dog, are you done? You done? Okay. There you go. She only sees like with one eye now, I think. So I have to kind of help her in and out of the door. Trump launched a criminal probe of E. Jean Carroll. So E. Jean Carroll is the woman who accused Trump of sexual assault and then won a case, a civil case, not a criminal case, won a civil case for sexual abuse against Trump and defamation. And she won quite significant. One case was for $5 million. She won the other for $83.3 million, both stemming from her accusation that President sexually abused her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room in the mid-1990s. Little more here. Well, Trump is now having the Department of Justice investigate her for felonies. He literally sicked oh wow, we have a crazy person. Oh, bye, crazy person. Sorry, we have a crazy bigot running around on YouTube. We don't usually get crazy bigots on YouTube. They're gone now. Bye, crazy bigot. We'll miss you. Especially when you're going after Trump. That's what always kind of blows my mind. Although I guess it maybe that they're crazy bigots, so they're probably pro-Trump. Probably makes sense. So Trump has sicked the Department of Justice now to throw this woman in prison because she successfully accused him of sexually abusing her, successfully because she won in court. No, she won in a civil case, not a criminal case. And he's now using the Department of Justice like the Soviet Union did or would, like Putin does, like the communist Chinese do. Again, like I've said, this is no longer a real Department of Justice anymore. These people are as bad as the Soviets, the Germans, the Chinese, the Russians. I'll read you this from NBC. The probe is focused on a trust founded by billionaire Democratic donor Reid Hoffman, whose nonprofit helped pay some of Carroll's legal costs, two sources said. Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, is an outspoken critic of Trump. The crimes under investigation are possible money laundering. Money laundering. This woman who he sexually abused, according to the court, money laundering, right? Money laundering, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy, right? Oh, total secret police or KGB, gentlemen, of course, yeah. Investigators are also looking into a possible perjury charge against Carroll related to her testimony in the lawsuit, but it's not the main focus. The main focus is, again, money laundering, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy. You know, this is so not okay. I mean, I've had it with this stuff. I have had it with this stuff. These people cannot get, but I say they can't get away with it. They're getting away with it now. But I mean, when we come back into power, every single one of these people needs to be investigated and thrown in prison if they broke the law. At the very least, there ought to be a whether it's a special prosecutor investigating everything, whether it's multiple special prosecutors, but this kind of stuff is absolute bullshit. She's on the list for $1 million as far as I'm concerned. She gets even more money now because everybody who he has weaponized the government against illegally, that no one has ever done this. No Democrat has ever done this. No Republican has ever done this before Donald Trump. This is literally Soviet secret police, what the Department of Justice has become in our country, what the FBI has become. Communist China is what these government agencies have become. It is that irresponsible. It is that sickening what these people are doing. But we need to throw all of them in prison. If they have broken any laws, they all need to be in prison. And this is what pisses me off, is that I'm afraid that we're going to be too nice. Basically, that all of these guys are going to get away. I'm talking anybody at the Justice Department involved in this probe or the FBI gets fired. Every single one of them gets fired, and they get under investigation, and their butts get dragged before Congress, and they've got to testify, and they better get some high-priced lawyers for that testimony. But every single person, this is World War II Germany. You think that you're just following orders? You chose to stay at the Justice Department for a regime akin to these people from Germany or the Soviet Union or Communist China. You chose to be a cog in the Communist Chinese organ, basically, if you work at the Department of Justice or the FBI. You chose it, that's fine. But you better not have broken any laws, because so help me God, if you follow these through on these crimes, you should be under investigation. And I think every single one of us should put pressure on these people to make sure that every single, on these people, meaning the people who are elected finally, to throw these guys out. Pardon doesn't matter. Pardon doesn't matter. Good luck pardoning. Pardoning them? I got news for you. When every single one of these people at the Department of Justice and the FBI gets called on the Hill to testify by Democrats running the Congress, they're going to have to hire $1 million lawyers, because they're going to be in so much risk what goes on there, because they could say something that has nothing to do with the pardon, but also they perjure themselves. The pardon doesn't cover perjury. The pardon doesn't cover if they hide stuff. So their pardon, good luck with that pardon, because they're going to have to hire very expensive lawyers to cover their asses once the Democrats come back to power. And we have hearings that drags, like the Doge boys. Every single one of those boys has to be dragged before Congress to testify. And they will, but it's going to cost them a lot of money. And Republicans want to pony that money. That's up to them, but man, I mean, this stuff cannot stand. You do not fix these problems unless you hold accountable every single person who did this. Because again, they're just going to do it again. Because they're going to say, well, they did it under Trump, and the Democrats let us get away with everything. So we can do it. Who's going to stop, who's going to stop us, right? Man, man, oh man, oh man. What else we got? Oh, Trump's Department of Homeland Security is still talking about shutting down all international air travel to Democratic airports. I hope they do. I really hope I hope they do. It'd be so good if they do. We've got a spammer on TikTok, if anybody's around today. So Mark Wayne Mullen, thank you, Amanda. Mark Wayne Mullen says he's going to cut off all international air travel. Thank you, Sadie. To U.S. airports, as they call them, Democrat airports. Democrat airport just means any airport in a big city. They're going to cut off all international air traffic, passengers and cargo to Chicago, to New York, to San Francisco, to Los Angeles, to Seattle, airport after airport after airport. It's going to be a disaster for the U.S. economy. It's going to be a disaster because anybody visiting the U.S., I'm sorry, but if your plan was to visit New York, you don't, and Fox News, I love Fox News today. We're going to take them at our airports, the Fox News announcer says. They're going to have them at red state airports. And the red state airports are going to love to get all the flights from Chicago. Who the fuck wants to fly into Dallas? Thank you, Gene. But I mean, literally, if your flight was to Chicago and they send you to Dallas instead, who the fuck's going to want to do that? No, you know what I mean? Like, that makes no sense, right? You're flying to New York. They're going to send you to Dallas? Like, no, but you're going to New York. You're not going to Dallas. French people go to New York. They don't go to Dallas. Thank you, Jen. I mean, it's ridiculous that they think they're going to get away with this, right? You don't want to. If you're shipping goods to the Chicago area, you don't want to ship the goods to Dallas. I mean, what are you going to do once the goods arrive in Dallas? You're going to truck them halfway across the country? I mean, this is going to be a disaster for international commerce. It's going to be a disaster for international transportation of human beings. And I hope to God they do it because they're going to kill the U.S. economy. Trump is going to yet again do another disaster on the U.S. economy like he did with tariffs, like he did with inflation, like he did now with Iran and gasoline prices going through the roof. And he's going to have prices because, guys, I got news for you. Your products around this country, some of them go by train, some of them go by truck, but a lot of them, Sasha, come on, hey, enough. A lot of them go by planes when they go across the country or internationally. Good freaking luck when inflation goes through not just inflation, but like I said, you're gonna tell international air travelers they can no longer go to Chicago and New York, okay, especially New York. LA and San Francisco. Okay, good. Then they're not going to come to the US at all. You think they're going to go? And the other thing too, which, like I said, Fox News today bragging, they're going to go to red states. It'll be great. Is that woman on Fox News one of the the not very bright ones? You really think airports in Republican cities are like half empty, that they can just take 180,000 flights a day extra? Because who's flying into Dallas, Fort Worth anyway? Half the airport's always empty. Half the gates are always, right? I mean, sure. Air traffic control can handle twice as many flights. Why would that be a problem, right? I mean, it's like they've never seen an airport before. There are slots at airport. The slots are bought and sold. You need to literally get a slot for your airplane. You don't just fly into another airport. You've got to arrange monetarily to be able to go to that airport. Thank you, Cricket. And there has to be space available for you to go to the airport. It is ridiculous to suggest that you could just, all of Chicago O'Hare's traffic could go to Dallas. Chicago's far bigger than Dallas for sure. I mean, no, I hope everyone's been saying on Twitter today, all the Democrat political people are like, I hope to God they do this. Please do it. And by the way, they're already backing down. Mark Wayne Mullen, who's like the worst person to have saying this crap, because Mark Wayne Mullen doesn't sound like the brightest individual. I'm not convinced his is the accent you want to be telling America at large that you plan on basically pushing inflation through the roof even further. He not the best. He's now backing down and going, well, we've got protests in Democratic cities and we don't have enough staff to fight those protests. So we're going to have to take staff from the airport and use them to fight the protest. It's like, wait, what? Again, first of all, a couple days ago, you said you were going to kill all air traffic to Democratic airports to punish them for being sanctuary cities. Now you're saying, no. It's because we have so many protests that we can't deal with them, that we have to take the staff at the airports. Well, here's the thing. We gave you $75 billion. We tripled your freaking budget for ICE, and you don't have enough staff. You hired literally every village idiot that existed out there. You hired for this crazy job, totally unqualified. You're saying you don't have enough people after we tripled your freaking budget? What the hell did you do with the money, Mark Wayne? Take speech lessons? I mean, or like, what's her face? Is he getting hair extensions and Bambi eyelashes like what's her face who was there before? I mean, God, Mark Wayne. I love him though, because he sounds like a big dodo when he talks. So like for him to be sitting there talking about, I'm going to spike inflation for all Americans. I'm like, oh, please do. Please keep telling everybody what you're planning on doing. Please keep telling everybody. Man, what else we got? I actually still have a lot of news. We've only gone through half the news. We'll see. Maybe we can quit. Inflation is up. Fox News, Fox Business. First inflation. Hang on. I do have a video on this one. I always have to play when there's a Fox News video talking about how bad inflation is. We have to play it.
Okay, so April saw a big jump in inflation tied to gas prices. The Fed's preferred inflation gauge hitting 3.8%, in line with expectations, a 3-year high, and a big step up from 3.5% in March.
There we go. So inflation going up even higher. Thank you, Fox News, for confirming that. Fox Business, first quarter GDP, which is economic growth. First quarter GDP coming in with a read of 1.6%. So this is a revision down. The first read was 2%. They come in with the numbers, and then a couple of months later, they have to review them because there's new statistics that come in. And they realized that the economy grew much slower than Trump thought it did. That's what they're saying. Now we're coming in with a second read of 1.6%, and that is actually below the range. So the economy was growing much slower than Trump thought. AP exclusive from Associated Press, the Trump administration has quietly instructed federal prosecutors to avoid pursuing criminal investigations into Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodríguez, a longtime target of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency. So apparently, if she's been a target of the DEA, she's helping facilitate illegal drugs entering the U.S. And we're going to let her get away with it now because she's a big fan of Donald Trump and sends him money. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? That's great. Great to hear it. Ballroom update. Hugo Lowell with Wired. Trump's ballroom funding package, a must-pass for Republicans in order to avoid cutbacks on security upgrades. Trump is making his ballroom funding package a must-pass issue for Republicans in order to avoid cutbacks on security upgrades and having a presidential bunker financed by private donors. The bunker is currently being built using money appropriated by Congress last year for security upgrades to the White House, per people familiar, but last year's money will not cover the full cost of security upgrades like the proposed drone port. First of all, money was appropriated by Congress to upgrade security at the White House. This moron decided to knock down the East Wing of the White House all by himself, put up a ballroom, and now he wants super security at the ballroom. The problem is they were already putting money for security for the rest of the White House. So what happens next? He's stealing the money for the ballroom, and then they're going to have to refund the money for the rest, or fund again, the money for the rest of the White House. Unbelievable, this guy. Just stealing left and right. And again, inflation's going through the roof. People are worried about the economy, and this guy is living high on the hog, building. He wants a drone port. Nobody knows why. He wants a drone. There's going to be a drone airport on top of his ballroom because, as one does when one has a ballroom must come with a drone airport on the roof because what kind of ballroom would it be without a drone airport on its roof? I mean, the amount of money this guy spends, the hubris, the pride, the arrogance of this guy. Again, while Americans are suffering out there economically, he just keeps spending and spending and spending. Speaking of which, and by the way, I have to do a video on this one because I noticed something in the story I've not heard people saying. You might have seen the story in the last day. Trump is Trump officials are pushing to put Trump's face on the $250 bill. because it's the 250th anniversary of America, so everything has to be 250. The arch has to be 250 feet tall. The new statue garden has to have 250 statues. And Donald Trump's face has to be on the $250 bill. Well, who do you think Trump picked to draw his face for the new $250 bill? He picked a British artist. It's not even an American. I read this today. It was buried in the story. And when I got to it, I went, wait a minute, what? He picked for America's 250th anniversary, for our currency, no less, the dollar, right? $250, but the dollar. He couldn't find an American artist. He picked a foreign artist and a Brit as well. No offense, like the Brits, but for this, it's a little weird. Literally our independence from Britain, we picked a British artist. Again, because you're the president of the United States. You don't pick foreign artists. You pick American artists, right? Guess why he picked the British artist? Let me read you this. The artist, British painter Ian Alexander said Trump endorsed changes to his original design, such as adding the colors of the American flag and the logo 250. He likes to call me his favorite British artist, said Alexander, a former competitive swimmer and DJ, you got to love that, who describes himself as a royal portrait artist of Queen Elizabeth II and others. He's a swimmer and a DJ. But I don't know if he did Charles portraits, but he has done portraits of Queen Elizabeth and others. It's not clear yet whether he was hired. The article does not say he was hired to do them. It says he did them, right? Doesn't mean he was hired by them to do it, right? Even if he was hired, Donald Trump heard that, oh, this guy's done portraits of the Queen. Now, again, we don't know that that's true. He's done portraits of the Queen. We've got to get him to do portraits of me because, again, he's our queen, right? That's why he picked him, because he paints royalty. Yeah. Now, mind you, he may not actually print. We don't know if he did royalty. Somebody will have to Google and see. Ian, what was the name? Ian Alexander. Somebody check. Ian, but Ian is spelled that funny European way. I-A-I-N. I don't know if that's Welsh or Irish or whatever that is. I-A-I-N. Google and see. He's a total queen. But again, Trump picked a foreigner to design American money because he may, is it Scottish? He may have been a royal portrait artist, and Trump, of course, Trump, he's royalty. Again, it goes to the economic thing. People are worried about inflation. People are worried about unemployment. People are worried about the economy and where it's going. So what does Trump do? He goes and wastes your money on his money, putting his face on the $250 bill, but can't even hire a freaking American to do it. It's not America first, it's America last. Can't even hire a freaking American to do it. Right? I'm looking at my dog. She's still like, we really spoiled the dog though. When I gave her those treats a couple of weeks ago to keep her quiet, she now hangs and sits there the whole show, standing up, like waiting for me. What else do we got here? Oops, a few more stories. This story I just thought was interesting. It's not political, but it fascinated me. New York Times. A senior CIA official was arrested last week after investigators found hundreds of gold bars worth over $40 million stashed in his Virginia residence, a small fortune that he apparently brought home from work. From last November to March, the court says, Mr. Rush asked for and received a significant quantity of foreign currency and tens of millions of dollars in gold bars for work-related expenses. I love at the CIA, you put in a requisition, hey, I need several hundred gold bars. Each bar was a kilo, 2.2 pounds. This is a big deal, right? I need a couple hundred gold bars, like $40 million worth, right? Investigators also seized nearly 36 luxury watches, many of them Rolexes. That's really interesting too. I just like that because that means we give Rolex watches when we're bribing people, basically, which is we get gold bars, first of all, to pay people off, but we use Rolex watches to pay them off as well. I can have a guessed what region of the world that is, but I thought that was very interesting. The court papers do not indicate why Mr. Rush appears to have kept so much gold and $2 million in U.S. currency in his home, or what project would have required him to amass such wealth. Oh, well, Russia called on all foreign diplomatic personnel to leave Kyiv before it kills everybody. The Europeans, not amused. The Europeans basically demanded the European ambassadors demanded the Russians basically come in to explain themselves, because they said, we're not going anywhere. Because also, if Russia wants to go and like kill everybody in Kyiv, it can. It's going to have to kill all the Europeans to do it, and then you got war with Europe. So, which is what I've been saying from the beginning. You've got to make the Russians pay a price or they won't do it, right? And in this case, if they want to kill all the European diplomatic people, okay, you want to go to war with Europe right now, Russia? Good for you. Not going to be easy for Europe. Going to be harder for Russia. Latvia. Latvia has reportedly begun installing Dragon's Teeth fortifications and digging anti-tank trenches along its border with Russia. Basically, it's, really, remember Dragon's Teeth are those big triangular things sticking out of like Dragon's Teeth, sticking out of the ground to stop tanks and trucks and other things from crossing the border. Just as preparation, because they're getting more and more worried about Russia someday possibly attacking. Ukraine. Sweden will donate 16 Gripen version CD, and Ukraine will buy 20 Gripen version E planes. The 16 are expected to arrive mid-2027. The 20 that Ukraine will be buying are expected to arrive in 2030. So that's not for, 4 years, but the other ones are arriving in under a year, which is really cool. Trump is continuing to prepare for gladiators to fight on the White House lawn. He's building a huge $60 million UFC fighting arena, allegedly being paid for by others, but Donald Trump. Yeah, let's see if taxpayers don't have to pay for yet another ridiculous extravaganza that Trump doesn't care how much money he spends, doesn't care about inflation. Trump, speaking of which, the Trump administration is paying millions of dollars to quickly cover 4 enormous bronze horses near the Lincoln Memorial with extra thick 23.75 karat gold leaf, much thicker and more expensive gold than similar projects. Diana says Ian Alexander never painted an official portrait of the Queen. So he's some guy who's like, I've painted the Queen from a picture I saw on TV. Maybe is what it sounds like. Yeah, lovely. But that's why the reporters couldn't quite figure out what his background was, but they heard that Trump thinks he painted the Queen. That's why they wrote it in that funny way. Who describes himself as a royal portrait artist of Queen Elizabeth and others. See, he describes himself, not that he actually is. Yeah. But yes, they're putting apparently these buffalo, are they buffalo? Horses. The horses were in very bad shape. They were built in the 1950s. They're very bad shape. They were refurbished or whatever in 1970. They need more work. Well, among other things, for whatever reason, they get gold leaf on them. I'm not sure they need gold leaf. Trump decided they should get 23.75 karat gold leaf, which is almost pure. At today's prices, very expensive. But he also decided that it needs to be much thicker gold leaf than is traditionally used and that has been used on other U.S. government properties. He wants to put much thicker gold leaf because this is America, which is going to cost us, I had the amount of money in my thing, it's going to cost us a hell of a lot more money, millions of dollars, it said, for these horses to get their gold leaf because Donald Trump, again, wants it to be extravagant. Finally, this one I have to show you. This again, goes to the issue of, I think these people, they're literally, it's not just Mad King territory, it's the hubris territory of who even are these people? Let me see if I can find this. Hold on, I think I put it in my favorites. I think I've got it in my favorites. Hang on, I'm sure I do. Here we go. The White House last night tweeted, this is only half the tweet, tweeted a very long tweet about the anniversary of Harambe, the gorilla who died 10 years ago. I vaguely remember, I had to Google it. Some small child climbed into Harambe's area and they had to kill Harambe to save the child just in case. Trump had the White House issue a long tweet remembering the legend of Harambe. Guys, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, I really don't. I mean, is this like, is that what they're doing? Are they just trying to like, are they desperate because of inflation and Epstein and everything else? They're just trying to like suck up on memes or something? I mean, it was huge a decade ago. Why the fuck do we care about it now? That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't even remember. I remember the name. And then I looked it up and I went, oh, I don't even think it's trolling. There's something wrong with these people, guys. We've got serious problems facing our country. We're at war, and they're tweeting about, on this day in history, Harambe would have celebrated another. First of all, it's written by a fucking child. Today, we remember a legend. Okay, Mr. Burns, right? Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. Today, we remember a legend. This is the freaking White House, guys. On this day in history, Harambe would have celebrated another birthday, an icon that became part of internet history, American culture, and an entire generation's timeline. I think AI wrote this, actually, because it's not written in normal English. Tomorrow marks 10 years since we lost him, 10 years since the moment the world stopped scrolling and collectively mourned something bigger than a meme, except it was a meme, actually. He became a symbol of loyalty, strength. This is, what are you doing? Huh? Please stop. You're freaking me out. All right? What are you doing? Hi, stop it. I don't even understand. Okay. As I recall, the kid fell into the pain, like in the area in the zoo, and they had to kill Harambe because they were afraid of Harambe killing the kid. Okay. Leia goes, I'm surprised he didn't blame Biden or Obama. Very good point, actually. But listen to this. They used AI. He became, again, Harambe was a gorilla who was sadly killed because a little kid fell into his pen and they had to save the kid and they were afraid of Harambe would do. I'm pretty sure that was the story, right? He became a symbol of loyalty, strength, chaos, unity, and the strange beauty of the internet, bringing millions of people together for one cause, never forgetting Harambe. He was a symbol of loyalty, strength, chaos. What the fuck? Chaos? Harambe was, that doesn't even make sense. Harambe was a symbol of chaos. I don't know what the fuck that means. Everyone remember. I hadn't read this entire thing when I saved it for you guys. Everyone remembers where they were when they heard the news. Do you remember where you were when you heard the news that Harambe was shot? I mean, everyone remembers where they were when they heard the news. I didn't even remember the story. I remembered the name and I'm going, Harambe, gorilla, maybe? Oh my God. Just so American Express. Oh, that's funny, Emil. Well, I'm glad it's getting good commercials, Emil. This is AI. Yeah, Chris said this is AI slop. They used AI. And somehow, a decade later, his legacy still lives on. Quite the opposite, actually. A decade later, literally nobody was talking about Harambe except these idiots. Gone but never forgotten. Rest easy to a true patriot. First of all, that's not English. Rest easy to a true patriot. They're saying, rest easy, true patriot, is what they're kind of saying. Rest easy to a true patriot. Harambe was not a true patriot. He was a gorilla, and he was killed because a little blonde kid fell into his pen. That's what happened. Very sad. He was not a true patriot. This is people who are very worried about Jeffrey Epstein, the economy, and the war. That's what that says to me. Wow, that's pretty effed up. Oh, you want to go out there again? That is pretty messed up, I have to say. That was my final story too. Harambe, the true patriot. I love that. I may have to do a video on that one. We all remember where we were when we heard the news of Harambe. No, none of us do. Literally, nobody does. Elon could have done it. JTA says Elon probably did talk to Trump because Elon created a song with musicians where they did it as a record of his death. But this song is heavily created by electronic instruments. Maybe it was Elon. Now that reads like a drug-induced Eon. I'm still thinking Ian, like a drug-induced Elon tweet, doesn't it? Could you see Elon going, everyone remembers where they were when we heard the news about Harambe, remember when he was doing the other day in China at dinner? He's like, and you're going, did you guys see that video? Oh, it was crazy video of Elon in China. He literally was sitting at the table going, it was like, oh, Google the video. It was, I can't believe I didn't grab it for you guys. It was crazy. Thank you, Terry, for the gift. It was absolutely crazy. The link to the song, I can't play. TikTok will get upset. There is the link. I'll check it out later. Thank you. JT, give me the link to the R.I.P. Harambe song. Oh, God. The movie The Jerk, I never saw it. I never saw The Jerk. I know it was Steve Martin, right? I think it was Steve Martin. It wasn't the other one. It was Steve Martin. I never saw it, though. We are living in Harambe's world. Harambe, the true patriot. Harambe 250. Oh, my. Making sure the dog isn't eating anything else. I think she's okay. There you are. Okay. Okay. Come on in. There you go. Good job. We took a walk around the block today. So she got a little exercise. Still being difficult because that's my girl. Oh, my. Why UFC? I doubt Trump watches UFC. I don't know. Again, this is about the base. Trump is trying to get the Joe Rogan fans back. That's what that is. That's what that is. You know, I think. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. Anyway, all right, that's it. Hanging out. Now we're hanging. That was it. Well, it was a lot of news today. You know. Anyway, I just love that. We all remember where we are when we heard the news of Harambe. Well, it's AI, but like maybe having said that, they like to put stuff out there that goes viral because people go, could you believe some idiot shared this? They do like to do that. So maybe somebody thought, oh, no, this is going to go super viral because it's incredibly idiotic. And with this White House, embarrassing yourself and being idiotic is a badge of honor, right? All Trump has to see is how many people shared it and he'll go, ooh, that was really good, right? That's my guess. Distraction from Epstein, distraction from Iran, distraction from inflation. It's everything, you know? I mean, Epstein, we got to get Epstein back in the news. It's not in the news anymore. But Iran and inflation, Iran and the economy, people are pissed, you know? Man. Peter Thiel left America and relocated. Peter Thiel left America and relocated to Argentina? Oh, that's interesting. Really? Oh, that's right. Elon and Zuckerberg. That's right. Was it going to be Elon and Zuckerberg? I forgot. Was that going to be the competition? I thought it was. Peter Thiel. Real American there. Is he real? Let me pull this up and see. He's a weird one. Yeah. New York Times. Why Peter Thiel is decamping to the end of the world. The billionaire's new roots in Argentina are said to be partly motivated by concerns about the future of the United States and shared belief with Argentina's right-wing leader. This is so weird. Oh, God, it's one of those stories. I hate stories like this. Stories that won't get to the freaking point. The Saturday tournament at the Buenos Aires Chess Club hosted its usual lineup of players. I get why stories like this have to be written. They bore the hell out of me. I have never, ever, ever liked to read stories that are like, the little child kicked the ball and it rolled and rolled and rolled. And you're like, oh my God, this is a news story. Tell me the freaking news. An accountant this time hunched over the club's tiny wooden tables, a new entrant, Peter Thiel. Mr. Thiel had recently decamped from his homes in LA and Miami to establish a foothold in Argentina's capital. Over the past 2 months, Thiel has met with, Javier Milei, we know, and his ministers, purchased a mansion in one of Buenos Aires' most exclusive neighborhoods, hosted a dinner with local economists, where he discussed the Antichrist, one of his favorite conversation topics. What the fuck? Is considering making Argentina another plan B. Born in Germany and raised in the U.S., I forgot about that. He received citizenship in New Zealand in 2011 and applied for a passport in Malta in 2022. His new roots in Argentina are partly motivated by his concerns about the direction of the U.S., particularly California, where an initiative on November's ballot could lead to a significant tax on billionaires. There you go. Huh. This is very weird. Very weird. Enrolled his children in a local school. Argentine government has, well, I don't blame the government. They want a billionaire. They're looking at whether they can give him citizenship. Big surprise. Very weird story. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, he's like Mr. Democrat to the Antichrist, which I love that. Billionaire discussed the country and economy before the conversation turned to the Antichrist. Some in attendance were unsure of what to make of their host's apocalyptic musings on an entity which he has warned in lectures could establish a totalitarian world government. Oh, yeah, we could call it the Institute. What was it? We could call it the Board of Peace. Why don't we do that? Yeah. Where was this? I hear you, dog. Wow. Well, that's very interesting and a little crazy. Yeah. Well, he's gay. I don't know. He might be married, though. I don't remember. We get some bad ones, too. The Board of Peace. Yeah. Man. No, I love Argentina, but like, my God, Javier Milei is the savior of the world, is your ideological ally. Okay. Again, bit of a goofball, but whatever. Hey, what you doing? Huh? I know. You'll get your treat in a little bit. Still a little early here. Anyway, very strange. 40 billion of Americans' taxpayer money to Argentina. That is true. Fact check true. Oh, you're thinking of something else kind-hearted or what? A German moving that's actually very true. James goes, are you British? That's almost a very British comment. A German moving to Argentina to avoid detection. Never heard of someone doing that before. That's freaking brilliant. There is a very famous long history of World War II Germans, let's call them, moving to Argentina to hide. I believe, wasn't Eichmann there? Didn't Eichmann go down there? Was he the one? I'm trying to remember. There was a super famous one they found there. I thought it was Eichmann. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh God. Anyway, it was Eichmann. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Who was Eichmann? Remind me, what was Eichmann's? Was he the doctor? I'm trying to remember. Adolf Eichmann. Was he the Nazi doctor? I'm trying to remember. Like the prison camp doctor. Thank you, Swan. Appreciate that. No, Mengele was the doctor. Eichmann. What was Eichmann's? Because I know Eichmann in Jerusalem, but I'm forgetting. Was he like ideological guy? What was Eichmann's job? I don't remember. He organized transports. Well, what transports? You mean to the camps or what? Yeah, Mengele was the doctor, right? Joseph Mengele. Yeah, Adolf Eichmann, but I'm forgetting the exact job. Let me pull this up. I do want to forced immigration. Okay. So he was all of that. Okay. Was he head of SS? Let me pull this up and just get this because it's been a while that I've looked at this stuff. We might as well get our history, especially this kind of history. We need to remember it, especially now. Oops. Hey, boyfriend, give us a quick summary of who was Adolf Eichmann, of course, from World War II Germany.
Adolf Eichmann was a high-ranking Nazi official and one of the key architects of the Holocaust. He was responsible for coordinating the logistics of mass deportations of Jews to extermination camps. After the war, he escaped to Argentina, but was captured by Israeli agents in 1960. He was tried in Israel, found guilty of crimes against humanity, and executed in 1962.
There you go. Yep. No, I remembered Hannah Arendt's exactly Eichmann in Jerusalem. I read that. I don't remember much about it other than literally banality of evil. I just remember talking about how so many of these guys were like normal people. It wasn't like evil was, they were evil men. And of course, that's why they did all of this. It was like, no. These were a lot of regular people and a lot of, as I recall, a lot of regular government functionaries, like regular people in government who helped make it happen because that was their job. They didn't care, We have to read it again sometime. I mean, I read it, I don't even know, 40 years ago, 35 years ago. But yeah, Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Oops. But yeah, a German escaping to Argentina. What a surprise. So a German escaping to Argentina seeking his right-wing ideological compatriots. Like, okay. Yes, I did see the Democrats' response to Stephen Miller today. I have not been talking much about it because I don't want to give them more oxygen. The Republicans, are going after the Tallarico, who's the Democrat in Texas, who's doing very well for Texas Senate, and because they can't get him on the issues, and he's doing well. They've made up this weird story that he's a transgender vegan. Literally, I was talking about this yesterday. Literally, and they've all repeated the story. He's a transgender vegan. It's like, and he's not a vegan, and he's not trans. And he's like, no, always been a boy. And as he goes, like my barbecue. So nope, good try though. But this is what they do. This is what they look at Trump, right? The lie, unfortunately for them, the truth doesn't work well for their politics. They have found that they're not very successful winning over Republican voters with the truth. So they lie, which ought to tell you something if you're considering supporting them and what they think of you. Anyway, how the tax situation works if you have dual citizenship and not living in the U.S. You are always taxed as an American citizen. Always. That is a sad fact of American life that does not exist in much of the world. Many countries don't tax you if you live somewhere else. In the U.S., you are always paying U.S. taxes on worldwide income. Then it depends whether there's a tax treaty with the other country. Then it gets more complicated. But so it depends on the country specifically. Thank you. We've got a goat scream. Who's that? Oh, Ash. Ashley's doing a goat scream? You crazy girl, you. Well, pick a goat, Ash. A Halloween goat. We have not had Halloween in a while. We've not had a goat in a while. Excuse me. For Peter, in honor of Peter Thiel. Woo! Ba-da-da! There you go. Now, the other situation is it also depends if your tax situation, because I know this because I had to look into it. If you become a dual citizen, U.S. foreign, it also it depends on what dual citizenship you have, and it depends on what country you decide to live in. And it depends on, in other words, I've got Greek dual citizenship with U.S., but if I live in France, I'm covered by French tax laws. If I'm living in Italy, it's Italian tax laws. Then it depends whether you are retired or working. If you're retired, there are sometimes like France has tax treaties that pretty much, if you're retired in France, from what I understand, don't take this as written in 23.75 karat gold, but from what I understand, I don't think you pay pretty much any taxes in France almost on retirement income. You might pay, I don't know if you might pay capital gains, maybe. But generally speaking, you won't pay taxes on your IRA, your Social Security, your Roth IRAs. Whereas in Greece, you will. And in Greece, it's more complicated. In Italy, it's really complicated. So it depends on the country, sadly. Very, 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 very. Exactly. Uncle Sam always wants it, which is unfortunate. Well, okay, it's unfortunate, but having said that, if you live in ironically, if you live in the other country, like I said, if you're retired, depends on the country. You might be better off. Like in France, you're better off as an American because you go to France, they've got high taxes. If you're retired there, you pay U.S. taxes in principle, depending how your money's invested. Again, totally depends though. And I haven't looked into it 100%. I could be wrong about some of this. Hey, Jackie, thank you for that. Hannah. Oh, we're almost done, actually. We got like 2 more minutes and we're done. Anyway. Ooh. Seattle are having a pride match during the World Cup. I did not know. Canada. Look, I love Canada. Unless you figure out how to global warmingize your country, I don't see moving there. Thank you, Chuck. I don't see moving somewhere that's colder than Chicago. I grew up in Chicago. I've been back to Chicago many a winter to visit mom. I don't know how the hell she and her generation handled it. They lived to their 90s in Chicago. I don't want to be 90 years old living colder than Chicago. Like, no freaking way. I mean, Canada sounds amazing in some ways. No, Italy, that's a different story, Jonathan. Italy, the problem is taxes for retirement. I was looking at it. Retirement in Greece, 15-year, I believe it's 15 years of low taxes for retirement in Greece. And then they get bad. Retirement in France, I don't think you pay taxes. Thank you, Cricket. Oh, very nice gifts. Thank you for there. Was that both Cricket? I want to make sure. Oops. Making sure. Were both of those Cricket? I did not see. Or was that one that looked like a two pair? I know that was Chuck as well. Thank you, Chuck. Oh, maybe that was just yours, Cricket. That was a cool gift. Thank you. But as I said, France, retirement, you only pay U.S. taxes. But I love Italy. Italy, the thing is, I don't know who knows as an American where you can handle living. You know what I mean? Like, I've lived in France before. It's not easy. I love France, but it's not easy because it's not your country. Like, you're different. Like, as an American, you expect things to work, you know? I don't know there how it would work. Spain, I wouldn't live in Spain. No. I like Spain. I've been a lot, but the thing is, like, my closest affinity here has always been Italy. Visiting me in a country I visited where I went, I want to spend the rest of my life here, Italy, for sure. I love Greece, but Italy, you know. Now, what I like Italy, who the hell knows? Living there. We had a neighbor who was Italian-American, but Italian dual citizen. And she had an apartment in Florence, and she kept the apartment because it was cheaper just to keep it, because she'd go to Italy all the time. And she was like, as she said, yeah, she goes, I go to Italy 2 or 3 months at a time. It was just cheaper to keep the apartment. You know, she paid $2,000, whatever she paid wasn't much. She finally decides to just give up, like sell her apartment here or whatever, and move to Italy full time, to move there. She came back 6 months later. Wouldn't say what happened. I asked her, she was like, I don't even want to talk about it. She was, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I don't know what happened. Now, it could have been, I wonder about, you say violence towards women. I wondered about that, Nurse Chantel. I wasn't going to push it because she literally was like, I can't even talk about it. It was horrible. And I was like, okay. Right. Because in my head, I went, ooh, like this sounds worse than just, I can't handle the day-to-day, you know, paying my bills or whatever. Now, we had American friends in Rome where the husband hated living there because it was just so inefficient and he hated it. This is now 25 years ago, but I think at the time they would go and pay like the electric, one of the bills, electric or whatever. And they'd have to, like, as he said, they'd have to go and pay in person every month. And he was like, you've got to be kidding me, in person. Like, they couldn't mail it in. They couldn't pay electronically. And it was just a lot of that kind of craziness that, you know, it was not a fan of. I loved Rome. Now, having gone to Rome last year, the crowds are not thrilling me. It's way too much tourism. And, you know, in Paris, maybe getting that way too. But I mean, I do love Italy. God, I love Italy. I love Italians. I speak Italian. I've always had an affinity for Italians. I really have. But again, the taxes are horrific. I don't think I can't live in Italy. It's too expensive. Oh, you're from Malta and you live in Italy. Oh, interesting, Jonathan. Yeah, the taxes are just too high. So my suspicion is, you know, again, let's see. But I think I'm going to at least be spending a lot of time, you know, months in Greece, come back a bit, months in France, come back a bit, months in Italy, come back a bit. You know, I've always wanted to explore, you know, like southern Italy. I mean, I've been to Sicily, but I've never been around the mainland southern Italy. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember. Is it Calabria, Puglia? I'm forgetting the provinces. You know, the boot, was it Stivale, the pointy thing on the woman's shoe. Is it a Stivale? I'm trying to remember the point and the toe. I've not really been anywhere there, so I don't know. Maybe still go to Rome for 3 months anyway. Is that what it's called? I'm forgetting. But maybe go to Rome anyway for a few months, even though the crowds I hate, you know? That's right, Paula. I'll visit you, Paula. Don't worry. I keep forgetting. You're London though, right? Right? Yeah, so we'll see. But again, I still would like to go to Greece. I want to go to Greece and do more of my ancestry hunting because I'm sort of in charge of that for the family. I have not been to Ireland. I still need to do that. Actually, Ireland is EU, right? Or I keep forgetting. Ireland, you're EU, right? So like, could I go live in Ireland for a few months? Well, it's not a problem anyway because I've got my US passport, but if I decide to stay longer, You are okay. So I could also overstay my 3 months in Ireland if I wanted to. Okay, good. Or go from Ireland to Italy or whatever. Okay. No, I think I need to maximize whether it's retirement or whether it's, going and still doing some work with you guys. But again, with the dog here being a senior, I'm not going to do that. But when the dog is finally gone in doggy heaven, then I've got to really figure out how to start doing some traveling like that. Because I've never been to Ireland, and Scotland. I've been to Edinburgh, but I've never been north of, and I'm dying to go north of there, which would be neat. Yeah, Northern Ireland, don't know at all. I mean, I really don't know like most Americans, I don't know the UK beyond London, Edinburgh, and my favorite is Frinton-on-Sea, because my friend is from Frinton-on-Sea. My friends that I met on the ferry going back and forth from France, from Calais to Dover. What is it, Dover? I forget. From across the channel there, back in the 1980s when there was no channel. And met some friends from Frinton-on-Sea and went and visited Frinton. It was okay, nothing special, but what do you do? So it was, but that's all I know. Those are the three places. Dover, yeah, those are the three places I've been: Frinton, Edinburgh, and London. That's it. Well, Oxford. We went to Oxford too. That was fun. Oxford was interesting and very pretty. It was Oxford. I'm already forgetting. Was it Cambridge or Oxford? I can't remember now. I think it was Oxford. I'm forgetting now. I was going to buy a car. I stepped into the street and looked the wrong way. Oh my God. And I heard beeping and screeching. And I remember I literally closed my eyes because at that moment, whichever way I looked, I was looking the wrong way, of course. Like I think, I must have been looking to my left, American. And I stepped into the street and went like this and heard, and, the beeping and the screeching. And it was very close. And I was already like this. And I literally closed my eyes and just went, oh God, I'm going to die. And the car didn't hit me. And I was like, oh my God, what do you do? I mean, it's very hard as an American and I was looking, but I looked the wrong way because you're so trained to look the way we look. I don't know what Brits do when they come here or go to Europe, to the mainland. It's got to be very dangerous for you guys. Because literally that was very scary. I mean, I'm extremely lucky I didn't get hit by that car. And I looked, but of course I looked totally, the problem was I really looked like this down the street to make sure there was nobody coming. Oh God. So peripheral vision wouldn't have helped me at that point, very scary stuff. So anyway, but yes, I've not been to London since 7/7. So I know muscle memory. Exactly. So I've got to go back. Anyway, lots of trips. Also because I worry about just getting older and who knows, right? All of a sudden I was looking, oh my God, what's his face? Frankenfurter. What's his name? The original Frankenfurter. He had a stroke at like age 68 or 69 or something. And now he's in really bad shape. Tim Curry. He's in terrible shape. And I read the story and I was like literally 68 or 69. And I went, oh my God, because I think like I've had a relatively healthy family, so that my parents were very good until they were in their 80s. And then 80s depended. Dad had problems earlier, mom had problems later. But we like to think that we're going to be okay for decades. You know what I mean? And you just don't know. Yeah, he had a stroke. Yeah. Oh, his dad had a stroke too. Yeah. No, I mean, he had a horrific stroke, again, late 60s, which, if you're younger, you think 60s is old. But if you're a little older, it's not that old because again, we kind of think we hope we're traveling until we're 80 or 85 or something, and not necessarily, how old am I? None of your business. Anyway, but yeah, very sad. I read that, I was like, oh my God, a wheelchair, and just very sad. But again, it can happen to anybody, the ferry from France to Ireland. Oh, that's interesting. I guess they did I'm sure they did that back then. Yeah, I never even considered that back then. A friend of mine was studying in London and I was studying in Paris, early 80s. So I was like, visitor. I liked it. I went to London for a week or two. It was wonderful. I loved London. Met a lot of people. I met them in Spain. They were the Spanish people. That's who they were. Because I was hanging out with these people in London who were just a hoot. But in retrospect, I was trying to remember who they were. It was a German studying at one of the big universities. I don't even know if it was LSE or whatever it was, but this German guy who was hilarious, big, blonde, enormous German, and drove like a maniac. And I remember, because what's also scary if you visit Europe, if you visit England, is you're as a Westerner, so to speak, you're continental European or American or Australian or anywhere else. I don't know, Australia, I'm assuming you do it our way. You're sitting in the driver's seat, so to speak. So like, I'm sitting as the passenger on the left in front and looking out the wheel, and he's driving like a lunatic. And you think no one's driving because you're looking out the window and no one's driving, and you keep wanting to grab the wheel. So it makes it far, far more stressful when you've got a lunatic German driver going through London. For me at least, way more stressful. And he was loving it because I was like freaking. A very funny guy. Very funny guy. Anyway, I'll let you all know when I travel, but yes, I've got to, and I mean, like I haven't been to Copenhagen. I haven't been to Norway, very expensive, but I'd still like to see it. The Baltic states, whatchamacallit, Finland would be interesting. I mean, there's like so many places that would be so interesting just to, never been to Czech Republic, although Prague, I understand. One of our neighbors went to Prague in the off season and said it was horrible just because he said it was insane numbers of people. But what do? You just try to avoid the touristy times or the touristy areas, I don't know. I've been to Germany a lot, but I don't know Germany well. Not a lot, several times, but it was like work and stuff. So I haven't been to really, other than, I haven't even been to Berlin since the wall came down. Long time. People still leave their keys. May I ask where you are in Jonathan, or though you may get a bunch of people coming to rob you? What region are you in, at least in Italy? I do not sprechen Deutsch at all. Nope. Not at all. That's true. By transportation, tickets cheaper. True. You lived in Berlin. Anyway, thank you, Cricket. That is a crazy gift. Thank you. So we'll see. But I need to start enjoying myself. I mean, I've been enjoying myself, but I've not traveled in a while. I mean, I have the last couple of years. Usually I would go every year. I hadn't traveled in 10 plus years to anywhere. And then finally went to Indonesia and Singapore for my nephew's wedding. And then last year went to Italy, which is nice, but I've got to start doing more of it. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go. It's 7:30 almost. So Ukraine, exactly. Ukraine's on the list too. So low power. All right. I thought my thing was charged. Maybe it wasn't. My iPad's already doing low power. It must not have been charged. I thought it was. Anyway, guys, all right. I am going to say good night to you all. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining. And I will see you all tomorrow, 6:00 Eastern. All right. Bye, guys. All right. Discord, let's start with you. Yeah. It's my battery is telling me it's time to go. Battery's like at 10% of the, I've always charged my iPad. That's weird. I don't know why it did that. All right. Hang on a second. Instagram, boom, end video. There we go. All right. YouTube and Substack. Bye, guys.